Coming up, a press conference today in Jefferson Parish after a black juvenile was arrested.
Some parents who entered their babies in a beauty pageant are threatening to take the operator of the contest to court.
And a plane crashes into a London neighborhood.
Good evening, everyone. Channel 8's Nightbeat is next.
I'm the lead angel in our kindergarten Christmas play. We're on stage in these gorgeous white costumes. We've got coat hanger halos that our mother made. The girl next to me leans over to scratch. Her halo falls off. The girl next to her leans over to pick it up. Hers falls off. I lean over to get theirs, and mine falls off. Well, we're in a panic. My mother runs up from the first row with a handful of hairpins and fixes everybody's halo, and the play goes on.
So is there a moral?
Don't leave home without hairpins?
Or your mother.
Greetings from WVUE.
Hi gang, I'm going to tell you how you can win a 4-day, 3-night trip to the sunny Bahamas. And it's real easy. If you drink 7-Up and watch me on Channel 8, you could be a winner. Just go to any store where 7-Up is sold and look for this display. Then send your name, address, and phone number to Channel 8, and each night at 6 p.m. we'll pick a daily winner. And on Tuesday, December 30th, those daily winners will be eligible for a grand prize trip to the Bahamas. So hurry to a store where 7-Up is sold and win the big giveaway right here on Channel 8.
This is WVUE Channel 8, New Orleans. Jim Bailey, Karen Grant, Jim Gallagher on sports, and meteorologist Nancy Russo. This is Nightbeat.
Good evening. Deputies in Jefferson Parish called a press conference today to fully explain the arrest of a black juvenile suspected in connection with a crime spree in a white area last night.
The Sheriff's Department is concerned because of the recent racial tension in the parish. The suspect in last night's robbery seemed to fit the description of suspects in other crimes.
From previous incidences and previous victims, the persons that were described to us as the perpetrators of the armed robbery were in fact black male subjects. And that's the people that we were looking for in response to the armed robberies having been perpetrated.
Racial tension in Jefferson Parish has been high since Sheriff Harry Lee authorized deputies to stop blacks in white neighborhoods a week and a half ago. Lee has since retracted that order. Also in the Jefferson Parish Sheriff's Department, 2 deputies have been indicted by a federal grand jury. They are charged with beating up a Coast Guardsman back in 1985. The 2 are Michael Beeler and Martin Dunn. They are charged with 2 counts each of violating the civil rights of Jeffrey Newton. The indictment says that the deputies beat Newton outside the offshore lounge bar after getting into an argument with him on the inside.
The sheriff of Terrebonne Parish, Charlton Roseanne, said today he believes he will be acquitted on malfeasance and theft charges. Roseanne's and 4 deputies were charged with stealing weapons from the evidence collection. Today, Roseanne's denied the charges and said they were attempts to hurt his chances for re-election next year. At the special session in Baton Rouge tonight, the House rejected a tax on soft drinks. The tax would have raised some $15 million to be dedicated to the Office of Culture and Tourism. Some of the money would have been earmarked to reopen state parks in our state. Laura Myers covered the day's legislative action.
The first of Governor Edwin Edwards' budget restorations hit the House floor today. Restored is $46.6 million in state cuts to public schools. The money funds the minimum foundation formula's 5% cuts made recently by the governor.
We feel that if we can get this one to go all the way in, if we find the revenues that are necessary, that we've offset a lot of the problems that they were concerned with.
The education restoration comes on the heels of 2 major victories given to the governor, a 1-cent sales tax extension and shifting highway and flood control money to the general fund. Yet to be passed, though, are 2 other cornerstones of the governor's budget proposals.
The lottery should be in pretty good shape, I think. From discussion on the floor, I think the votes are going to be there to pass the lottery. As far as for the 2-cent extension, it's going to be tough. The votes are not there at all for that one right now. And
still controversial is a package of budget cuts stripped from $120 million to 1/3 that, now at $40 million. Examples of controversy include cuts to Charity Hospital and indigent co-payments.
I mean, it's just devastating. Charity Hospital would in fact be closed. He has a situation here where he's requiring when mental patients go in to get their medicine, they have to co-pay, come up with some money. If they don't have the money, they don't get the medicine. I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, it's a very serious matter. And I can only repeat, I think it's very hypocritical and it's incredible.
And we feel like if people just realized, who pay nothing now, if they had to pay a little bit, we could bring in a little money and maybe cut down on the number of visits, and this would offset the cuts.
Also facing the House is the 21-year-old drinking age and possibly the state lottery. The mood of the House earlier today seemed to be that of House members wanting to restore as many cuts to state agencies as possible. That could be because most House members have bitten at least one tax bill at this special session, an issue that's sure to affect them in next year's elections. On the Nightbeat, Laura Myers, Channel 8 News in Baton Rouge.
In national news tonight, President Reagan chose not to mention the controversial Iran arms deal during his weekly radio address today. But in the Democratic response, Michigan Congressman Michael Benor says the only way Reagan can end the scandal is to stop the war in Nicaragua. Benor says if the president keeps on ignoring the problem, it will just grow bigger than Watergate ever was. A federal court has selected an independent lawyer to head up the investigation into the Iran-Contra affair. He is reported to be Lawrence Walsh. Walsh is a former president of the American Bar Association and has served as a federal judge. He did not confirm that appointment today. The National Public Radio says Walsh has accepted the job.
Turning now to world news, in London today, a two-seater training plane sputtered and stopped in midair. The plane then plunged into a heavily populated neighborhood.
The light Tomahawk plane was coughing and losing power just before it crashed at the end of a quiet suburban garden. The occupants had no protection. There was no possibility of escape. The pilot tried twice to land in a nearby field, but hit the ground and rose up over buildings. The plane sliced past a chimney and two aerials before smashing into a factory wall only feet from where an 8-year-old girl was playing.
Well, I was at my kitchen window and I just saw this flash of the plane come through. It was red and white. Heard as it hit the wall of the factory at the back of our garden, you heard the impact.
My daughter was in next door's house being sent away because she was a bit upset because the plane had crashed right on top of the shed, which frightened the life out of her.
This was the same Tomahawk plane filmed in May in happier times when it was used for training pilots. Now it lies in ruins, under investigation.
Nancy Russo here with a look at what's going on outside right now. Nancy?
Well, it is still overcoat weather outside tonight. All the temperatures are in the 40s. We're watching clouds, though, as they start to move in across the state of Louisiana tonight. Most of the cloud cover high to mid-level cloudiness, so tomorrow won't be quite as nice as today, and in just a little while we'll let you know just how cold it's going to be by tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you, Nancy. Nice and seasonal Christmas weather. Up next on Nightbeat, thousands flocking to a Chicago church to see a painting of the Virgin Mary that they say cries real tears.
And a local beautiful baby contest leaves many parents thinking about ugly actions. Stay with us.
Ho, ho, ho! Santa knows if you want extra special savings, come to Camp Pro Sunday. All Camp Pro stores open tomorrow noon.
Hi gang, I'm going to tell you how you can win a 4-day, 3-night trip to the sunny Bahamas. And it's real easy. If you drink 7-Up and watch me on Channel 8, you could be a winner. Just go to any store where 7-Up is sold and look for this display. Then send your name, address, and phone number to Channel 8, and each night at 6 p.m. we'll pick a daily winner. And on Tuesday, December 30th, those daily winners will be eligible for a grand prize trip to the Bahamas. So hurry to a store where 7-Up is sold and win the big giveaway right here on Channel 8.
I see, and now that you're in your first year of junior high, you're low man on the totem pole.
There's gotta be a way we can prove to the older guys at school that we're not little kids anymore. I can show you how to smoke.
But the boys find out smoking isn't so...
great.
And smoking doesn't impress anyone.
Nobody cool smokes anymore. Cigarettes are kid stuff.
You.
The dangers of tobacco on the next Small Wonder.
Sunday at 5:30 on Channel 8.
Hi there, I'm Bob Eubanks, back with another season of unpredictable newlyweds just like these.
I beg your pardon, Dee Dee?
He paid $900.
No, I don't know.
900!
You spent $900 on a piece of rug? Did you want money from me? Or did it?
Don't miss the fun on the all-new Newlywed Game.
The organizer of the Cutest Kid in the World contest may wind up in small claims court.
A lot of parents say they were cheated, and so were their children, because of the poor planning that went into the program. 9.5-month-old Donald Simmons was entered in the Cutest Kid in the World contest. It turned ugly when the show ran hours behind, and mothers began demanding refunds.
They had parents screaming, men fighting over the trophies. It got bad.
The contest organizer, Ann Berry, speaking with Channel 8's Mary Lou McCall, blamed the ruckus on security guards, who she says failed to handle a problem as instructed early in the show.
And they just did not respond to us. Consequently, we have some facts we're not at liberty to divulge right now. Our lawyers are handling them. But we have some facts that explain the reason that security did not handle their job. They just didn't do their job. And it led to a breakdown, and then one delay led to another.
But Bridget Simmons says the delays were brought on by a couple of factors. First, pageant officials allowed registration right up to showtime and were inundated with new entries. Second, they put babies in the 0 to 12-month-old categories at the end of the schedule.
I'm not putting the pageant down, but anybody would have known you put the little babies on first, because they get hungry, they get tired, and they get restless. When you hear your kids screaming for hours at a time, that's enough to make you aggravated.
Aggravation has turned to threats of legal action for parents who say Ann Berry refuses to give back their $40 registration fee. The Simmons are not pressing for that.
Well, I'm going to wait and see. If they reschedule the contest, I'll put him in it. That's all I wanted for him, was to be judged. He didn't even get to walk on the stage.
And while explaining the concept to the contest, Ann Berry indicated the show will go on.
But we just sort of got stopped right in the middle, and we're going to finish.
Berry says the whole idea behind the contest is to find a child whose face will ultimately appear in TV commercials and in nationally distributed magazines. Parents who feel burned by the first experience are advised to write a letter of demand to Berry, wait 10 days, and then take the case to small claims court.
A face in Chicago causing quite a ruckus tonight. Thousands of people flocking to a church to catch a glimpse of a painting of the Virgin Mary. Parishioners of the St. Nicholas Church say they noticed glistening streaks pouring from the Virgin's eyes last week. Since then, the lines to see the painting have been very, very long indeed. An Archbishop calls the event a miraculous sign. Now coming up, Nancy Russo with the rest of this weekend's weather.
And Santa Claus comes to town, Cajun style. Stay with us.
Brian is having a holiday sale. Just make a wish and get deals like a new 87 Chevette for only $49.87, or choose the new 87 Sprint with $87 down, only $135 per month. You'll always get big savings because Brian tries to make every deal a little cheaper. Brian Chevrolet Mitsubishi 8200 Airline Metairie.
Hey, you can talk turkey for chicken feed. A little bit of scratch is all you need.
Honey, only a couple more weeks till the after Christmas sales, and we can finally afford to get off this lumpy mattress.
You don't have to wait until after Christmas to save. Superior Waterbed's pre-Christmas sale lets you save before Christmas. Huge savings on your waterbed now. Hundreds of discontinued, scratched and dent items priced to move immediately.
Who was that man?
Oh, Bear!
Sit right back, America. We're gonna make you smile. Talk at home the way you like it. The Donahue style. Speak your mind. America. America speaks its mind. Speak your mind. America. America speaks its mind on Donahue.
Donahue, weekday mornings at 9 on Channel 8.
Every part of the country, and the world for that matter, has its own unique ways of celebrating Christmas.
In New Orleans today, students and parents from Cabrini High School rang in the Christmas seasons with candles, the lighting of a great big tree, and some old-fashioned Christmas carols. The highlight of the evening was, of course, the arrival of Santa Claus down the bayou in the traditional pirogue. When the jolly old man reached the bank, he handed out presents to some needy youngsters there. You won't see that in many other parts of the world.
Very nice.
They don't arrive in pirogues in my part of the country.
Great weather, Christmas weather today, and the bad news, as I mentioned on the earlier show, is that we're going to turn warmer for the next couple of days. Same type pattern as last week that we saw.
So turn around again at the end of the week?
It looks like it may.
Good.
Repeat. Could have kept the same shows from last weekend. Satellite picture tonight is showing that cloud cover continuing to stream in across Louisiana. All of this is the same cloud cover we were talking about last week. We have a southwesterly flow aloft, and that means winds coming up from the Pacific. I know you've heard me talk about it before, and that's because it's just not changing at all. And that's why we keep getting the high clouds pushing in across Texas and back across Louisiana. These are not really the rain-producing type of clouds, but just won't be as nice tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of cloud cover across the area, and it looks like on Monday a slight chance of rain, better chance of rain though in the area on Tuesday. National map tonight is showing you just what's going on. Very quiet night actually. High pressure sitting across the northeast, continuing to pull off to the east. Temperatures very chilly though, continuing tonight. Many of the temperatures 18 degrees right now up at Detroit, 29 degrees coming from St. Louis, so the chill is definitely on all across the east. Those chilly temperatures are going to hang on in there for the next couple of days until that high pushes far enough east. Tomorrow's forecast map does show high pressure pushing off to the east, and for us, we all know what that means. Winds tomorrow will be out of the east, then around to the southeast. We're going to pick up the warmth and the moisture and the humidity. So gradually with each passing day, we're going to see a warming trend. The moisture is going to be back. It's just not going to feel quite as pleasant. Back across Texas, though, we're going to watch a new frontal system as it develops. Also, there's an upper level impulse that's going to be pushing across Louisiana over the next couple of days. Tomorrow, though, all the rains are going to stay back across Texas. We need a little bit of a warm-up, actually, after you take a look at these temperatures. Early this morning up on the North Shore, very cold. Temperatures down in the 30s, 35 degrees at Slidell, 41 degrees over on the Gulf Coast in Biloxi, 30 degrees up at Macomb. All the afternoon high temperatures, though, generally in the 50s. At Audubon Park today, though, you'll see in a minute, that was the only spot up to 60 degrees. And there it is, 60 degrees at Audubon Park. Morning low temperature 42. No precipitation, of course, today, with not many clouds around the area. And actually, we're just a little bit below our seasonal normal. Current temperature out at the airport in Kenner. Well, let's take a look at our satellite loop, because I don't have to really tell you how I'm forecasting this weather. You're going to be able to see what is happening. Here come the clouds. Today we were in the clear, plenty of sunshine. All the clouds continued back across Texas, and you can see them as they continue streaming into Louisiana. Here is our forecast for tonight. It is going to indicate that we are going to see increasing cloud cover. Partly cloudy tonight, still cold if you're up on the North Shore. Back down into the mid-30s, the possibility of some patchy frost, but not as cold as last night. Here on the South Shore in the colder suburbs, about 38 degrees. Here in town will be about 42 with light winds. For tomorrow, we'll have an increase in cloudiness. In fact, it's going to be mostly cloudy. High temperatures are going to be in the 60s, still on the cool side though, with easterly winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. Here's a look at Monday's forecast. Not too good, mostly cloudy, warmer. There's a slight rain threat on Monday. Low temperature, only 50 degrees. High temperature, 70 degrees. And the marine forecast for tomorrow, there is a small craft advisory right now in effect. Tomorrow it should still be pretty rough out there. Offshore seas running 4 to 6 feet. And here's a look at the tides, just in case you do want to go fishing tomorrow. Range is not too bad. So again, it is a repeat forecast, and maybe by the middle of the week, things will begin to improve again.
Okay.
We may be going through this again next weekend. Who knows?
May just keep happening over and over and over. Thanks, Nancy.
When we come back, highlights from some Saturday pro football.
Jim Gallagher's up next with all the day's sports. Stay with us.
Christmas is a special time across the country and at Kmart, because you can save on gifts like this West Bend high-performance food processor, sale priced at just $36.88. Or make someone's Christmas special with a Kmart gift like First Alert's rechargeable Ready Light for $19.88, or compact rechargeable flashlight just $9.88 after manufacturer's rebate. It's America's favorite time of year at America's favorite store, Kmart, the saving place.
I was 9 years old. I was going to be a professional baseball player, so I had to have a new glove that Christmas. Christmas Eve came, and you know how you lay awake all night. Well, in order to shut me up finally, my parents brought me a gift, yes, from Santa Claus. Well, it was this Mickey Mouse watch. The next morning, I did get the glove.
Well, those watches are worth thousands of dollars. Do you still have it?
No, I don't. I've still got that stupid glove, though.
Season's greetings from WVUE.
Sally Jesse Raphael is a lot more than just chit-chat.
We want a chance to talk about the way we feel, the way we think, and the things that are important to us.
How I felt was very suicidal.
We want to be proud of ourselves.
It's so important to get people, despite perhaps some sacrifice on their own part, to speak out and say, this has happened to me.
Sally Jesse Raphael, the talk show that gets people talking.
Weekday mornings at 10 on Channel 8.
Football today, even though it's a Saturday.
Well, pro football is certainly the game we're going to be talking about in a minute. First of all, though, we're going to be talking about high school football. We'll follow the little ball down to high school. How about that? The last time Slidell played for a state championship, it was 1946. It's 40 years later, and the Tigers are after another. They took on Ruston in the Quad A finals of the Gatorade Superdome Classic tonight. Have some first half highlights for you. Early on, Ruston takes the lead. This is Randy Wright with a 5-yard touchdown. It was 7-0 Ruston. But Slidell came back. Scott Wadley answers with the short touchdown run. It's a 7-7 tie. Ruston's David Jones knocks in the field goal to make it 10-7 Ruston. But Slidell comes right back and scores again. Scott Wadley, his second touchdown of the night. That puts Slidell ahead 14-10. Some trouble for Ruston. Billy Jacks, the Ruston punter, drops the ball. He is nailed for the big loss. Drive, of course, they take over. Slidell's drive stalls. Then comes on Malcolm Betch. He hits the field goal. At the half, it was 17-10. Right now, this game is in the fourth quarter. It is all tied up. Slidell 24, Ruston 24. Of course, we'll have highlights of this game for you tomorrow at 5 o'clock and tell you who won and who lost. In the AA championship earlier this evening, it was Kentwood over South Cameron, 26-14. At this time last night, the John Curtis Patriots were in the process of losing the AAA state championship. Waspin beat Curtis 9-7 to claim their first state title. Now, despite losing a chance for his 9th state title, J.T. Curtis gave credit where the credit was due.
They're physical, they're fast, they run to the ball well. They just do good things defensively. And when you got those kind of players, you're going to be in a dogfight. And I thought they did an excellent job.
Well, 4 weeks ago, the New York Jets were on top of the NFL. They were leading the AFC East. They were about ready to clinch a playoff spot. 1 month later, and the Jets are now struggling just to make the playoffs. Didn't help their cause this afternoon against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers take the lead for good on this play. Mark Malone goes to the ageless one. John Stallworth, Steelers were on their way. Ken O'Brien trying to bring the Jets back, but Lupe Sanchez clinches the Steelers win with this interception. He goes all the way the other way. Steelers rolled on to win it 45-24. They take the Jets this afternoon. Meanwhile, two teams that have already clinched spots in the playoffs met this afternoon. Washington takes an early lead over Denver when Jay Schroeder hits Ricky Sanders for the score. But Denver came back behind John Elway. Leading by a point, Elway lays one out to Steve Watson. A great catch for the score. Broncos take it 31-30, the final score. They clinch the AFC West. The Jets can still make the playoffs, but they're going to have to win next week. Well, the Saints are out of the playoff race, but they still have a little motivation for tomorrow. It's called revenge. The Saints open the season with an embarrassing loss to the Atlanta Falcons. Tomorrow at noon, Saints get their chance to even the score against the same Atlanta Falcons. Well, the LSU Tigers continued their search for a head football coach today. The Athletic Council subcommittee interviewed two coaches today, both LSU assistants Mike Archer and Ed Zauenbrecher. The committee says they will continue their search on Monday. They'll interview at least 4 applicants next week. Well, the UNO Privateers didn't play up to their potential tonight. The Houston Cougars played past theirs, and the end result was an 83-75 win in Houston this afternoon. Have some highlights of this game for you. Going on early in the evening, UNO Privateers looking good early on in this game. Here is Eric Coleman goes to Liddell Eccles. This is the jam of the week. Big Liddell really lays one down. Liddell shows he can do it on the outside, also hits the three-pointer here. He had 27 points for UNO. But they could not counter this guy, Greg Anderson of Houston. When he needed a score, he did. He had 27 points in the first half alone. They call this guy the Cadillac probably because he's as smooth as one. He was scoring all over the place. Anderson finished with 35 points. We go to the scoreboard. It was Houston over UNO, 83-74. UNO falls to 2-2 on the year. One other local score was Tulane over Southern Miss in women's basketball, 63-61. If you like your local college basketball, then you gotta like the Georgetown Hoyas. They feature 4 kids from New Orleans. They were looking good against Arizona this afternoon. On the break, this is Perry McDonald of New Orleans. Now, he will get the steal. He eventually will take it down. They dish it back and forth. McDonald gets the easy lay-in for the Hoyas. Remember, McDonald played his basketball at Carver High School here in New Orleans. But he's not the only local star playing for the Hoyas. This is Dwayne Bryant. He makes the drive. Then he makes the dish to Jonathan Edwards of New Orleans. He takes it in home, and the Hoyas
thank that New Orleans connection because they rolled to an 82-74 win this afternoon. Other scores in the top 20. Nevada, Las Vegas, the #1 team in the country, is just getting started. Other scores, it was Indiana leads East Carolina in the second period. Purdue over Detroit, 89-65. Iowa beat Drake, 69-62. North Carolina big over Jacksonville. In the second, Illinois leads Illinois leads Princeton 46-33. It was Auburn big over USL 107-91. Western Kentucky no trouble with Samford, and Oklahoma beat Florida State 109-92. Big upset in college basketball this afternoon. St. John's against UCLA. Willie Glass here for St. John's. He hits it inside. Louis Carnesecca likes what he sees for St. John's. This time they go to their other forward, Shelton Jones. He hits right here. St. John's went on to pull off the big upset, 70-63, the final score in college basketball. Syracuse a big winner this afternoon. Kansas just getting by Colorado this evening. North Carolina State over Duquesne. It was Pitt over West Virginia. Alabama leads Duke in the second period. Kentucky over Lamar, and Arkansas beat Morgan State 106-57. We got scores galore.
How did all those New Orleans guys end up in Washington? They ought to be up in Baton Rouge.
Well, you remember a few years ago, John Thompson came and won the national championship here in New Orleans. I think he made some connections there.
Took some of the best back with him.
He's just shoveling them up there. He loves those kids.
He certainly made an impression.
They're playing well. They really are. That's sports.
Thanks, Jim. When we come back, Nancy will have the Sunday forecast for New Orleans.
And we will have a Christmas celebration in the Vieux Carré. Stay tuned.
Hillbean is the place to go for top-name Armstrong vinyl flooring at exceptional low prices. At Hillbean, you'll find a large selection of 12-foot, easy-to-install Armstrong vinyl floors, like this no-wax cushion Royale, sale-priced at only $2.99 a yard. And for an even more deluxe floor, choose this superb Sundial Solarian no-wax vinyl, sale-priced at $5.99. Add to the value of your home with a lovely new Armstrong floor from your Hillbean store, all locations.
I was 11 years old, and I was the toughest tomboy on the block, and I desperately wanted a gun and holster set. And Christmas morning, I ran downstairs, and I grabbed my gift, and I lifted it, and I thought, oh no, it's too light, and it's not shaking the way it should if it's a gun and holster. And I opened it up, and sure enough, it was a black taffeta dress with pink and blue ballerinas on it.
No more cowboys and Indians.
Oh no, I just still played in my dress.
Greetings from WVUE.
It's the all-new dating game. Check it out.
I know what you want and I know what you need.
California cutie pie.
Make my day.
The all-new dating game, weekdays at 4:30 on Channel 8.
And before we leave you tonight, let's get a final check of the Sunday morning forecast from Nancy Russo.
Well, I know a lot of people will be up tomorrow morning running in the Corporate Cup race downtown, and if you're going to be up, I think you'll need a sweatshirt because temperatures tomorrow morning are going to be in the 40s. Also tomorrow we're going to see a big increase in cloud cover over what we had today. Not a bad day though, temperatures in the 60s. Karen?
Nancy, you going to run in the morning?
Not me, but I know someone that is.
And it's not Jim Gallagher, I can tell you that.
That's right.
That's our night beat for this Saturday. Thanks for being with us. We want to tell you before we go that neighborhood newsmakers tomorrow, Kirk Melanson, are going to interview Mary Lou and I about our trip to Medjugorje.
It's going to feel funny to be on the other side of the microphone.
It did, yeah.
We'll be back at 5 tomorrow evening. We leave you now with some highlights of the Christmas parade in the French Quarter tonight. See you tomorrow, everybody.
Good night.
When you want fresh, great-tasting coffee, reach for the one that tastes like it's been roasted right in the bag. Now that's fresh roasted. Only CDM roasts and grinds its coffee and even its chicory fresh right here in New Orleans. Other brands use chicory roasted months in advance. So when you're drinking CDM, you're drinking the freshest roasted, freshest tasting coffee and chicory you can buy.
Now that's fresh roasted.
CDM and CDM decaffeinated. Fresh roasted for fresh flavor right here in New Orleans.
This Saturday and Sunday only, AA&A Liquidators will be here with hundreds of authentic handmade Persian and Oriental wool rugs, all colors, all sizes. Own a beautiful sculptured Chinese, retail $4,500, now only $895. A decorator jewelry, retail $200, liquidation price only $29. Every rug has a certificate of authenticity with prices from $29 to $4,500. This Saturday and Sunday only at the Hyatt Regency 500 Poydras Plaza. Take the I-10 to Superdome exit. This Saturday and Sunday only, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Hyatt Regency.
Soundtrack's fabulous $10 million pre-Christmas warehouse sale is this Sunday only, and only at the I-10 Metairie store. Incredible Christmas savings up to 80% on floor models and demonstrators. Video recorders from $99. 13-inch color TVs from $95. Compact disc players from $49. Hundreds of gifts at giveaway prices, but only on Sunday and only at the Soundtrack Metairie store. Quantities are limited, so hurry. When the king of discounters roars, Santa saves at Soundtrack.
So we had spent the night at my grandparents' house. It's Christmas morning, and my brother and I walk out. I was 8 and he was 6. We walk out, and there is the tree with all the presents. My grandfather was real excited about Christmas, but he had put a fake snow footprint on the living room floor. Hadn't snowed the night before. My brother looks at it and goes, "No way." I'm older and wiser. I look at the footprint, I look at the presents under the tree, and I turn to my grandfather and I said, "You know, I think I did hear it snowing last night."
Season's greetings from WVUE.
Sanford and Son, weeknights at 11 on WVUE Channel 8.